Hey everybody, Mike here. I've been talking recently with my new friend Emily, who actually was a giveaway winner for a giveaway that we participated in, um, that was done by the Boomstick Babe Alicia Garcia in Colorado. And Emily won that giveaway, and so I messaged her and said, "Hey, congratulations, you're the happy winner. What kind of optic do you want?" And she said, "Well, I'm a pretty good pistol shooter, but I haven't really shot with dots yet, so I'm really excited to win. What do you got? What'll fit my guns?" And we had the whole conversation. And well, me being an extrovert, Emily is now a friend. And so I was chatting with her the other day, and she was reminiscing a little bit about her days in the military. And she said, nobody talks about stress inoculation. Nobody does like a simulation anymore of what it would really look like and feel like. She says, when I was training, they would make us do push-ups and they would make us run laps and they would make us do burpees and stuff. And then we would have to shoot because it would make our arms shaky. It would get our adrenaline up. It would make us out of breath, and it was more realistic. And I thought, well, I can make a YouTube out of that. So thanks, Emily. So today's going to be why I like shotguns for home defense. Yeah, I preach the gospel of the gauge, and I'm not sorry. And I'm going to try to sell you on that, and let me know in the comment section if I've succeeded or not. So I'm out here in Houston, Texas on one of the hottest days of the year. In fact, right now, I'm going to screenshot my weather app and show it to you. That'll be popped in later. And let's simulate a home defense situation. Award-winning actor Ernest Borgnine. If you know my channel, if you know the Gideon Optics channel, you're familiar with Ernest. Is one of my favorite targets. Ernest Borgnine is coming down the hallway in my house. He's about 10 yards away, and he's roused me up in the middle of the night, and I've got to defend my house and defend my family against Ernest Borgnine. And there's different ways that I can achieve that, right? And so what I've done today is I've decided I'm going to do a race to see which of the three types of guns, pistols, rifles, and shotguns, how can I get 5,000 foot-pounds of muzzle energy into Ernest Borgnine, right? So I don't, why 5,000? Because more is better, and because I'm definitely not going to stop until I know for sure that the threat has been neutralized. And yeah, it's a big, nice round number. 5,000 is easy for me to remember, easy for me to do the math on. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to do 10 push-ups, and then I'm going to go to an iron-sighted pistol to start with. Also, it's a very hot day. My hands are super sweaty, and I'm going to leave them that way. I have some weightlifter's chalk that I could use. It's kind of a gamer thing. Put some weightlifter's chalk on to keep your hands dry. It does help. If you're a competition shooter, try the weightlifter's chalk. But today, I'm doing it with sweaty hands. Why? Because if it's a real confrontation in the middle of the night, I'm going to be kind of scared probably, and I'm probably going to have sweaty hands. So let's fight through it. Let's make it as realistic as we can. Going to do 10 push-ups, and then that's hopefully going to get my heart rate up and get my arms a little bit weak. And then I'm going to hit my timer, pick up the gun, and put 5,000, a minimum of 5,000 foot-pounds of muzzle energy into Ernest Borgnine as fast as I can, into his A zone. I'm not going to overthink it. It's going to go into the chest area. All right, and that's the drill. Once I start, I'm not going to talk because I'm going to be out of breath, and this is going to not be fun for me at all. All right, here we go. So this is home invasion scenario number 1. No, I have not warmed up. This is cold performance on demand. My first shots of the day on a clean target. Stop talking and get to push-ups. Oh. 5 more. Woo! Right, I did 15 push-ups. I didn't feel like 10 was going to gas me enough. I had to rebuild my grip on the gun 2 times. If you watch it close, you might see my left hand slipping around and having to rebuild. Time, 16 rounds fired. That's right. Each 9mm. I'm going to catch my breath and talk to you in a second. Hi. I never said I was any good at cardio. All right, so I had to fire 16 rounds. It took me 13.39 seconds, so a little bit over 13 seconds to fire off the entire magazine through my Browning high power there, my Inglis, and that's because I'm using 147 grain 9mm standard loading, not plus P, and I like 147s. I like heavy for caliber bullets, and they're making 320 foot-pounds of muzzle energy per shot. 320 times 16 is 5,120 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, and that's what it takes to get to 5,000 foot-pounds of muzzle energy out of a 9mm. So basically, in order to reach my self-set objective of 5,000, I have to dump the whole mag. Let's see how I did. I haven't even looked yet. I just had to catch my breath. Okay, well, at least my marksmanship was okay. That's a little high, but guys, I'm counting this whole blue area as the A zone. Whoops, caught on my bullet. This whole blue area is the A zone. All right, so I've got all 16 rounds are in here, so acceptable accuracy and acceptable accountability. However, that's really it's not where I want to be, because realistically, is he going to stay there and sit there while I dump 16 rounds into him? Or is he going to be moving, maybe shooting, coming forward and stabbing? He's going to react, right? And maybe I get lucky and I hit something that's vital that he can't live without in the first couple of rounds. Or maybe I don't. You know, in the 1986 Miami firefight, one of the bad guys took 6 rounds of 9mm and he was dead. He just didn't know it yet. He kept going for a while, right? Look that up. That's a rabbit hole if you don't know about the 1986 FBI firefight. I passed the test. I got the job done, but not super efficient. Let's try again. All right, I've reset everything. I've got a fresh Ernest Borgnine downrange. I hydrated a little bit, and I let myself catch my breath. Heart rate's pretty much back to where it was, so we're pretty much at baseline now and ready for another go at it. It is 1:11. Okay. And here we go. This is the Echelon. So a little bit more of a modernized. Now instead of the high power, I'm doing a striker-fired gun with a dot on it. So can I do better with Gideon Storm, which is a big green dot, than I could with my iron sights? That's what I'm testing at the moment. Okay. I had to rebuild my grip twice again. So, you know, the Echelon's grip texturing is really nice. Did it matter? Apparently not. I'm still slipping and squeezing through my hands. I had to rebuild my grip twice with the high power and then twice with the Echelon. Time, 11:31. 11:31. And my first shot was actually slower. I was slower this time to the first shot, so by almost a full second. So I've really, yeah. So I beat my previous time, even though I had to rebuild my grip twice. and my draw to first shot, so to speak, my pickup off the table to the first shot was slower. I pushed a little bit to the right, but my overall group size is much smaller. If I angle it just right, I can cover up all these rounds with my hand. Okay, it's kind of hand-shaped, so that's a little bit of a cheat, but okay. I call that effective. But again, it still took me over 10 seconds. Is this guy really going to stand there for 10 seconds while I pump rounds into him like he's Al Pacino in Scarface? Kind of doubtful. Sure would be nice, because that's what it takes to get 5,000 foot-pounds of muzzle energy into a target. Let's step it up to something bigger. Okay, now for the big reveal. Fresh target up, and here we go with the AR. Conventional wisdom says this is the way to go right now, and if that's what you believe, you are totally freaking not wrong. You go, do the thing. Because this is not a fancy AR. It's actually a home build that I made out of parts that I found for sale on Black Friday special last year, and some stuff that I had kind of lying around like spares. And I don't have very much money in it at all, not even $1,000. So I've said it before, and I'll say it again, as long as I have a platform to say it on. You don't need a $2,000 rifle to defend the house, okay? You don't. So here's basically a $500 rifle. We've got a $260 1X prism, the Advocate, on this. So I'm under $1,000, as you see here, with the magazine and the ammunition and everything in it. It's under $1,000, okay? And there are pistols, HK, I love you, but I spent more on my VP9 tactical than I did on this AR, okay? So it's not an apples to oranges comparison, all right? So let's see how many rounds it takes for me to put 5,000 foot-pounds of muzzle energy into Ernest Borgnine. Oh, one little trick. The pistols are drop safe. I had the high power cocked and locked with the manual safety on, safe. And the Echelon is drop safe with no active safety that I have to turn off whatsoever. Passive safeties are enough. You can drop it and it won't go off. ARs, rifles, and shotguns too are not as drop safe as pistols. It's an older system. Remember, the AR was designed in the 1950s and has not been, the fire control group's been the same ever since then. Okay? So it's not particularly a drop safe system, and neither are the shotguns. So I'm going to start them cruiser ready. I'm going to burn a little bit of time charging my weapon to get it into action. All right, and then the question is, for the internet nitpickers, is it worth the safety risk to keep one chambered? Because you won't have time to rack it when it really counts. All right, you be the judge. Let's do some push-ups. Give me a minute. I wanted to make sure that I was actually recording, because I don't want to have to do these push-ups more than I have to. Here we go. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 4 shots. 4 shots in 5.33 seconds, including the time it took to rack the gun, get a proper grip, get it to my shoulder, and make sure the safety was off. My draw to first shot is the same as with the Echelon, about 3.5 seconds. Why 4 shots? 55 grain M193 out of the 16-inch barrel is doing about 1,300 foot-pounds of muzzle energy per shot. That means it takes 4 rounds to cross my threshold of 5,000 foot-pounds for a total of 5,200 foot-pounds of muzzle energy digested by Ernest Borgnine over there. Let's take out my group size. And again, I have not warmed up on this. I don't know what I'm going to see either. Okay, a little bit of height over bore. A little bit of height over bore is what I'm seeing. Okay. All right. So it's actually pretty decent. So we talked about height over bore. At 10 yards, I was aiming here. I hit about here. I think that's acceptable. 1, 2, 3, 4. Little diamond shape there. Look at my group size. Once I have 3 points of contact in a low recoiling platform, if you're recoil averse, if you like high capacity, you want to have 26 more rounds in the magazine on tap and ready to go, I won't blame you for using an AR for home defense. Good idea. Maybe have more than one. Let your wife shoot it. Once she figures out how easy these things are to hit with, she's going to want one. Ask me how I know. All right, I'm not going to switch out targets. We're going to leave this guy up here. You're going to find out why. All rise and prepare ye to hear the gospel of the gauge. I'm going to do the same thing I've done before. I'm going to put 5,000 foot-pounds of muzzle energy into that target over there 10 yards away. And I'm doing it with a 12-gauge shotgun, running 8-pellet Federal flight control. That's the defense ammo that Federal makes in 12-gauge. It's standard for law enforcement. If I have to shoot someone with this stuff and they call me out into court and they say, why did you use that crazy ammo that went all the way through that guy? I'm going to say, Your Honor, I mean, it's what all the cops use. It's what's the standard law enforcement issue. So if it's too scary for me to use, we should probably pull it out of all those squad cars that it's riding around in right now. That's my legal defense, okay? It's a standard issue law enforcement double-aught buck loading. Let's see how it does. 15 more push-ups. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. 3 shots in less than 4 seconds, 3.98. Meaning, from the time I fired my first shot, he has less than 4 seconds to get out of the way of what's coming. What was coming? 8 pellets times 3 shots is 24 holes in him right now. But if I'm in front of the judge and the jury, I don't have to justify 13 seconds worth of mag dumping with a pistol. Hey, why'd you shoot him 13 times? I don't know, he didn't move, so I kept going until the mag was empty. Not so good. Why'd I shoot that guy 24 times? Well, because I pressed the trigger 3 times and then he fell down. 8 pellet times 3. The buckshot makes 1,680 foot-pounds of muzzle energy per shot. 3 rounds crosses my 5,000 threshold at 5,040, 5040 muzzle, foot-pounds of muzzle energy. Let's take a look at our target. Now you're going to understand why I didn't switch it out to a fresh one after using the AR. Okay. Yeah. So, maybe I should do it this way. Hi! I used to be a bad guy. That's 24 rounds in the upper thoracic cavity. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are at the local gun store and you're thinking about buying a 12-gauge shotgun, and the guy behind the counter goes, yes, sir, Bobber, I sure do like me a 12-gauge because you know what? You can't miss. You don't even have to aim with it. Let me ask you something. Looking at this standard law enforcement group size that I turned in for 3 rounds pressed, if I didn't aim, could I have missed the A zone? Yeah, absolutely. This is a tighter group than I did with any of the pistols. I'm tighter with the shotgun than I am with the high power of the echelon. So if I'm not well sighted in, if I don't know where my load hits at the engagement ranges that I'm going to use that shotgun at, if I'm stuck with a bead sight that doesn't work very well in the dark, am I selling you on the benefits of Mediator 2 on a 12 gauge shotgun yet? It has shake awake. I pick it up, it turns itself on. I don't have to worry where the brightness buttons are. It's bright enough that it won't wash out if I have a weapon light on the gun, and I want to make sure what my target is. It's absolutely rated for 12 gauge. It'll do this year after year. It doesn't care. And you can tune it to hit exactly where you want your load to go, right in this dumb bunny's chest. You shouldn't have broke into my house. All right, that's enough of that. The 12 gauge is so underrated in 2025, and I haven't even told you the best part yet. That was a Tokarev T300 semi-auto. Runs great. Super soft shooting. Did the recoil seem uncontrollable to any of you guys? Seem like it's really beating me up? No, it's not. You know our friend Benjamin Franklin? He MSRP on that shotgun is 2.5 Benjamin Franklins, which means by the time you pay shipping and sales tax and your transfer fee, you're probably at around 3 bones. 3. I can't even get a case of 5.56 ammo for that much in 2025. And I can't recommend to you in good conscience, I can't recommend you a pistol that costs $250 to defend your life with. That shotgun sure as heck will. So if you're on a budget, pretty freaking unbeatable, folks. It's unbeatable for your budget. It's unbeatable for terminal effect. And it's unbeatable in court to defend your actions and show legal justification. All right? And that is why I like shotguns with red dots on them for home defense.